Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I am Priya Venkatraman from Pun Vidyashram School. In our previous module, we have discussed about the occurrence of metals. Some metals such as silver, platinum and gold are not very reactive. They occur in the free state in nature. What about the other metals? Other metals such as aluminium, silver, mercury, iron and copper are obtained from their ores. The ores of metals like aluminium, copper, silver, mercury and iron are obtained from aluminium is obtained from bauxite Al2O3. Copper is obtained from the ore cuprite Cu2O. Silver is obtained from the ore horn silver AgCl. And mercury is obtained from the ore cinnabar Hgs. And iron is obtained from the ore hematite Fe2O3. The series of processes carried out to extract pure metals from their ores is called metallurgy. Now we are going to discuss about the occurrence of non-metals. Non-metals are those elements which do not possess the characteristics of metals. There are only 22 non-metals. They include hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, chlorine, bromine, iodine, sulfur, carbon, phosphorus. Clear? Non-metals are soft, dull, light, brittle in nature, non-malleable, non-ductile, non-sonorous, non-conductors or poor conductors of heat and electricity, and they have low tensile strength. So in this module, we are going to discuss about the occurrence of non-metals. Hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. It is the chief element that makes up the sun and other stars. On Earth, hydrogen mainly occurs in combined form as a constituent of water, petroleum, natural gas, coal, clay and all animals and plants. Then the second one, nitrogen. Nitrogen mainly occurs in the free state in the atmosphere. About 78% by mass of air is nitrogen. Next one is oxygen. Oxygen is the most abundant element in the Earth's crust. It occurs in the free state in the atmosphere, forming about 21% by mass of the atmosphere. It is also present in the combined state in the Earth's crust as oxides, carbonates and silicates of metals. Then the next one is carbon. In the free state, carbon occurs as graphite, diamond and coal. Diamond and graphite are pure forms of carbon. Coal contains 60 to 90% of carbon. In the combined state, it occurs in the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. In the Earth's crust, it occurs as carbonates of metals as fossil fuels. Carbon is the central element of all living matter. Then the next one is sulfur. Sulfur occurs in the free state in the Earth's crust. In the combined state, it occurs in rocks as metal sulfates and sulfides. It also occurs as hydrogen sulfide H2S, which is present in petroleum and natural gas. Then the next one is phosphorus. It is available as phosphates in the Earth's crust and bony tissues and even in teeth. The last one is chlorine. Chlorine is available in the Earth's crust, seawater, minerals such as rock salt. What is the chemical formula of rock salt? Sodium chloride, that is NaCl. These are some examples of non-metals we have discussed about how do they available. Thank you. We have discussed one more property also of metals, that all the metals are electropositive in nature. What do you mean by electropositivity? Either by losing or gaining electrons, all the atoms will undergo the octet rule. What is the octet rule? All the atoms will try to possess 8 electrons or will try to hold 8 electrons in the outermost orbital. Okay, when they have 8 electrons in the outermost orbital, they are considered as stable. So this is known as octet rule. All the atom will try to undergo the octet rule. Yesterday we discussed with one example, sodium. The atomic number of sodium is 11. So the electronic configuration can be written as 281. How did I get these values? With the help of 2n square formula. Right? So look at the last orbital. It contains only 1 electron. To undergo the octet rule, this orbital should be filled with 8 electrons. Right? But already 1 electron is there. Okay, 2 possibilities are there. Either it has to lose 1 electron or it has to gain 7 electrons to hold 8 electrons in the outermost orbital, right? But gaining 7 electron is a little difficult, but it is easy to lose 1 electron. So the sodium atom will ready to give 1 electron. So by losing 1 electron, the sodium atom will become Na plus ions. This plus should be written at the top. You should write the symbol Na. N should be written as capital and A should be written as small letter. Above the Na, you have to write the plus symbol which mentions the charge of the sodium. Okay, so Na plus ion. This will turn or become as Na plus ion by losing 1 electron. Clear? So almost all the metals, they are electropositive in nature, which means they will lose their electrons to fulfill the octet rule, right? But I have said non-metals are electronegative in nature. Okay, the same octet rule should be followed here. Okay, for example, I'll give 2 examples. For example, consider phosphorus. The atomic number of phosphorus is 15. So, the electronic configuration can be written as 2, 8, 5. Look at the outermost orbital. How many electrons are there? 5 electrons are there. To undergo the octet rule, it should be filled with again 3 more electrons. So, it has to gain 3 more electrons. Okay, otherwise it has to lose 5 electrons. Gaining 3 electrons are easier than losing 5 electrons here. So, phosphorus will gain 3 electrons and it will undergo the octet rule. So, since it is gaining the electron, its charge will become minus. Okay, minus. So, and gaining the electrons means it possesses more negative charge, right? So, all the metals are electronegative in, all the non-metals are electronegative in nature. Because their valence shell, that is the outermost shell, have the capability of gaining electrons. Thus, they are mostly electronegative in nature. One more example also I want to give. Chlorine. Chlorine is an example of non-metal. The atomic number of chlorine is 17. So, can you say the electronic configuration for chlorine? Yes, it is 2, 8, 7. Right? With the help of 2n square formula, you can get this. Look at the last outermost shell orbital. It has 7 electrons. So, it is very easy to gain 1 electron to undergo the octet rule. So, chlorine will gain 1 electron. Since it is gaining the electron, the chlorine ion will become electronegative in nature. So, almost all the non-metals are electronegative in nature by gaining electrons. Metals are electropositive in nature. Non-metals are electronegative in nature. Then we will discuss the chemical properties of non-metals and metals one by one. Now we will discuss few chemical properties of metals. Okay, which you have learned in your lower classes. known chemical properties will be discussed first, then one by one. The reaction with oxygen, water, these are also some chemical properties that will be discussed a little later. Okay, you would have seen some green color coating on copper utensils at home. Why does this change occur on the surface of utensils? Do you have any idea? When metals are exposed to atmosphere for a long time, they lose their metallic luster and become dull. The gases present in the air and water attack the metals and their surfaces get blackened or tarnished due to the formation of compounds such as metal oxides or sulfides or carbonates. Almost all metals corrode to some extent, and the highly reactive ones corrode to a maximum extent. Gold and platinum, being noble and unreactive metals, are least affected by the atmosphere and hence do not corrode easily. Then what do you mean by corrosion? The process of slow degradation of the metal due to the attack of the atmospheric gases and water on the metal surface is known as corrosion. Silver articles are normally unaffected by the atmosphere, but if the atmosphere contains a small amount of hydrogen sulfide gas, H2S gas, its surface becomes black after some time. Copper utensils, when exposed to moist air containing carbon dioxide gas for a long duration, lose their shining brown surface and acquire a dull green coating. This dull green coating is basically a mixture of copper hydroxide, CuOH twice, and copper carbonate, that is CuCO3. This dull green coating is also known as basic copper carbonate. This green coating is because of the formation of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. Then the second one, you must have seen that iron particles, when exposed to moist air for a long period of time, develop a reddish brown powdery coating. Have you ever noticed? The reddish brown powder which is formed on the iron particles when they are exposed to moist air is hydrated iron. Hydrated iron 3 oxide. Okay, Fe2O3.XH2O and is called rust. The hydrated iron oxide is known as rust. In this chemical formula, X is a variable. Based on the climatic condition, the value of X also will be changed. The chemical reaction that takes place during rusting of iron is mentioned as follows. Iron, when reacts with atmospheric oxygen and water. Okay, from moisture, water molecule will be obtained from the moisture in the atmosphere. Iron plus oxygen plus water molecules to form hydrated ferric oxide, hydrated iron 3 oxide, Fe2O3.XH2O. The reddish brown powdery material is soft and does not adhere strongly to the surface of iron metal and can be scraped off easily from the surface of iron, exposing its fresh inner surface to air and moisture. Consequently, rusting continues and the rust formed on the surface extends throughout the body and completely destroys the iron particle. Every year, a large amount of money is spent to replace iron and steel structures. Hence, rusting proves quite expensive for the country's economy. Okay, how to prevent this rusting? You have already learnt. By applying some paint, grease or oil on iron objects, and one more process, galvanizing and electroplating. Okay, by alloying, you have learnt. Okay, when doing all the things, rusting can be prevented. Okay, But there are two necessary conditions for rusting. What are the two necessary conditions? The presence of air and the presence of moisture. Rusting takes place only in the presence of air and moisture. These are the well-known chemical properties of metals. Thank you.